What is the most savage thing a teacher has ever said to you? It wasn't said to me directly but rather done to me. I'm a female with a male middle name. We had at least 4 other girls in the class with the same first name as me, so I volunteered to be called by my middle name. By the time I got home, the male teacher had called my mom to tell her I wanted to be referred to by my male name, as if to say there was something wrong with that. Upon hearing groans following an instruction to get into groups or whatever, Christ, you want some cheese to go with that wine? Just move. Upon receiving an essay/report with almost 0 punctuation, this writing is so bad it should be on toilet paper. It's textual diarrhea. It gave me pinky just to look at it. When students complain that this is boring, boredom is a thing that happens in your head. So there are no boring activities, only boring people. Lift your game, Tyler. Oh, you lost your pen? I teach. What's my job? You're a teacher, right? And you lose things. What does that make you? I said that I didn't understand a specific exercise we had to solve in maths. When I asked my teacher, he just answered, "No big surprise that you're the only one who doesn't get that again. I won't explain it to you another time. Get yourself a tutor." We were sitting around at the end of shop class just talking shit until the bell rang. One student asked the teacher if he knew how to get 4 gay guys to sit on a stool. The teacher didn't know, so the student turned over his stool so all 4 legs were pointing up. We all laughed, and then the teacher said they had the same joke back in his day, except it was about how to get 4 sorority girls to sit on a stool. The student thought that version was way better and started laughing even harder. Then the teacher says, "Isn't your sister a sorority girl?" The look on the student's face was priceless. "You should really wear socks. It's disgusting not to." Then she gave me a pack of Hanes men's socks. Word got around the school, and I was bullied relentlessly. I gave my last clean, not hole-filled pair to my little brother that morning, so he could play at recess in the cold Iowa winter and not be too chilly. So fuck you, Mrs. Wilkinson. Edit. Obviously I was grateful to have socks to wear. I was not grateful for the multiple years of bullying that followed. A teacher should not embarrass his or her students. I wasn't the only poor kid in class. I wasn't the only child to get a handout. I was the only one publicly shamed. And of course it wasn't the first time I'd been sent to school without socks or proper attire. I was 11 years old. My brother was much younger. I did what I thought was right as his big sister to make sure he could enjoy his school day, and I got shamed and bullied for it. Our parents chose not to provide the things we needed, and that's what's truly disgusting. Not me, but a kid in my class raised his hand and said, "I know the answer to the last class question, your hairline," to our bold teacher, and everyone started dying of laughter, and the teacher responded, "And I know the answer to that, your detention." This is one of many interesting events that have happened in 6th grade. Me, "Sir, what are you doing for Valentine's?" Not sure why I felt that was appropriate, but anyway, sir, that's absolutely none of your business. I don't go around asking you what you're doing for Valentine's, even though I know you're sitting in your room, on your own, crying because you can't get a girl. Another teacher told me I looked like a Holocaust victim as I'm very thin. I just said FCK off, yeah, bull DPRCK. He just laughed. I repeated a sexist joke my friend told me to my other friend in 7th grade. I think it was like, "Why don't women need a license? There's no road from the kitchen to the bedroom." My teacher asked me to repeat what I said in front of the whole class. So me, being a smartass, repeated the joke with a smirk. Teacher, not a trouser snake. "Do you have a girlfriend?" Me, "No." Teacher, "That's what I thought. Now sit down." I didn't say anything because she was pretty intimidating. Even though I'm witty, I'm sure she would quipped right back even meaner. But I wish I had said something clever like bringing up her recent divorce and say maybe you should have traveled that road more often. You got me. That one time millisecond. Jolina. None of these were said to me, but still, I had some pretty quick-witted teachers in school. High school choir class. Our teacher was adamant that no one chew gum in class. One day he called a girl out for chewing gum, and he made her spit it out. She rolled her eyes at him and made some bitchy comment before she spit it out. On her way back to the risers, our teacher looks her dead in the eye and goes, "If looks could kill, you'd be on the floor right now." Savage as fuck. Tot. Chemistry class. Our teacher greeted the class one afternoon with "Welcome to the wonderful world of chemistry." One of the girls in the class says, "It's not wonderful." Teacher immediately snaps back with, "You're not wonderful." Once in gym class, a kid told our substitute teacher that we had to climb ropes to the top of the gym ceiling just to fuck with him. As we were waiting to go into the gym, the substitute asks another one of the gym teachers, "Do these kids really have to climb ropes to the ceiling?" The other gym teacher goes, "No. A should be dropped from the ceiling. That's what should happen." Not me, but my best friend. In social studies, the teacher was giving a lecture and my friend, let's call him Jard, was talking shit to some friends at the back of the room. He said something about his dick, as high school kids do. Well, from the front of the class comes a real snappy line from the teacher, "This is social studies, Jard, not microbiology." One of my football buddies got his essay back, and the teacher put the mark and F or D or whatever in the top corner, then drew on the top a football play. Except instead of the end zone he labeled it the failure zone and showed my friend ending up there. I really like you as a person, but I hate you as a student. My French teacher told me this when I was in high school, during this period where I was really depressed and self-destructive and on the verge of flunking out. Having her be so honest with me and pointing out that I was wasting my potential, but at the same time saying I was a good person, made me want to do better, and eventually I did. I got bullied in middle school by two guys in the grade ahead of me. One day they said some particularly mean shit to me, and one of my teachers, who was also the football coach, could just tell that I was down on myself. He grabbed me after his history class one day and kind of tried to cheer me up. I'll never forget one of the things he said. "Yeah, know the thing about guys like that, and guys like you are going to be signing their paychecks one day." I honestly didn't fully register it at the time, but years later I'm like, damn. He basically said those guys aren't going anywhere in life. After getting hit in the eye with a softball during PE and almost being knocked the fuck out, he said to me, "Son, it could have been worse, could have been my eye." I'm not going to even bother trying to teach you to read if you can't tell the difference between soup and soap. Well, F asterisk 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 you Mrs. Levoy, my kindergarten teacher. That was because nobody realized I needed fun glasses, you putz. Now I read 2-3 books a week and I can definitely tell, as long as I'm wearing my glasses, the difference between soup and soap. Wow, I got really angry writing that, didn't realize it still bothered me so much. After building trebuchets to launch golf balls in physics, we were doing our tests and someone's went off center on a swing and threw a ball in my direction, hitting me in the head surprisingly hard. Actually got a minor concussion from it and it split the skin open. Seeing me grabbing my head and bleeding, my teacher laughs and says, "Maybe it'll fix the part of your brain that makes you like you are." Not a day goes by that I don't regret writing you that letter of recommendation. Me, opens mouth to interject. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, proceeds to stare deep into my eyes, straight through my soul. Me, turns and walks out of the room. No comeback for that. My teacher once said to a 15-year-old boy in front of the whole class, "You know, when you are walking through the shops and you see a really fat person wearing Crocs, and they have screaming kids by their chubby ankles that are just as ugly as them, and the parents look like they have the most disgusting hygiene and haven't showered in weeks. Yeah, you know the ones. Just remember, even they got laid, and yet you still haven't." For our Christmas concert I was playing first cornet, small trumpet, and I neglected to wear completely black shoes. They had a white stripe around the rim of the sole. When my brass instructor found out, 10 minutes before we were about to go on stage, he fixed me with one of the most intense burning glares and stated you are an absolute disgrace in a cold tone that was dripping with disappointment and barely repressed rage. He was my favorite teacher who was a super chill guy. I looked up to and respected a lot, but damn, music teachers on concert nights. A completely different beast. I went to quite an old-fashioned English grammar school. I had this super old school teacher who used to assign quirky self-development tasks in detention. He'd teach you 6 ways to tie a necktie, or how to polish a pair of shoes properly. Honestly thought the world of him. Ultra strict, but in a caring I want the best for these kids kind of way. I remember being in detention with a mixed age group of lads, all boys school, and he was teaching us how to sew a button onto a shirt. One older lad said sewing was gay and refused to do it. Sir, as I still refer to him, said something along the lines of, Mr. Brown, I regret to inform you that paratroopers in the British Army are required to sew buttons back onto their garments. Should one come amiss, are you putting forward the proposition that the entire parachute regiment are in fact homosexual because of their propensity for needlework? I remember thinking at the time, that was the most baddest way I've ever heard someone say shut the fuck up you little twerp. Neither were towards me, but my history teacher was a fucking madman with his savagery. I was chewing gum and a girl put her hand up and snitched on me for it. He looked at her and said, this is why people fucking bully you. Later that year he got into an argument with some dickhead in my class who was trying to be badass. The kid straight up paraphrased Bruce Banner and said, and I quote, "Don't piss me off, you dead ass would hate me pissed off." The legend that was Mr. Summers replied, I hate you anyway, get out. First day of life drawing class in university. Was constantly refreshing the registrar page all summer to try and get into the class. I really wanted to learn how to draw people. First day of class, so excited. Teacher, now class, I want you to go through and try to experiment with your materials. Me having not taken many art classes and is a total noob tries to play around with what I have. Teacher looks at everyone and describes their personality and the energy they give and all that artsy stuff by how they place lines and whatnot. Teacher gets to me and looks at what I drawn. Teacher, the way you draw it's like you don't even want to be here. Well, I clearly wanted to be there and I really wanted to learn. So I realized they straight up told me I was shit. Funny enough, my depression regarding my art started shortly after. Wasn't said to me, but still my favorite high school memory. Grade 9 French teacher left halfway through the semester, so we had a temporary teacher for about a week. First day she introduces herself and tell the class a little about her. She's from Russia, a few other facts, and she does not drink alcohol. A kid in my class responded with, but milliseconds you're Russian, you must drink like vodka or something. Teacher said that's a stereotype. Not all Russian people drink vodka. That would be like me saying you're black, you must steal things. Half the class practically fell out of their chair laughing. I forgot the name of the book, but back in 4th grade we were reading this book about a kid who had to survive on his own in a cabin in the forest while waiting for the return of his father. Well, this being elementary school they were doing that teacher assigns you a few pages and you have to read it out loud exercise, and I got the last few pages where the kid reunites with his dad. So the segment was something like his kid seeing his dad out in the distance and he waves him down while shouting pa, pa. Now I wasn't sure if the teacher wanted me to literally shout those lines in class, so I did a Roughest pa or kind of talk shout, but apparently that wasn't enough for the teacher who had suddenly decided he's going to be the director of this little play that was going on in his head, cause he looked at me and in front of everyone said, come on Mike, you can do better than that. Your dad was literally in a car accident last month, put some emotion into it. Yay, reminding a 9-year-old about that one day his dad was late picking him up from school because he was in a car accident that almost killed him. Not the best thing to do if you're a teacher. All my fault, but I didn't take theater class serious, but I needed the credits, so at the end of my senior year I asked what can I do to at least get a D and she helped me out, but she said, keep in mind throughout your life, people aren't always going to help out. I hope you pass this kindness forward to people you do not seem worthy of your time. Good luck. Biggest truth bomb that stuck with me. Thanks. Didn't say it to me, but I will never forget it. This asshole in my high school world history class questioned our very knowledgeable teacher on the lesson he was teaching, and Teach squarely told him, and I quote, "I have forgotten more things than you will ever know, you little shit," then proceeded to challenge him to a fight. Best part of my high school experience by far. This happened to a friend of mine. In a chemical class, the teacher was explaining the process by which atoms become ions. He said that metals lose electrons, while non-metals gain electrons. He summarized the point and said, "Non-metals are gainers and metals are losers." After a quick scan of the room, he turns to my friend and says, "I guess you are a metal then. I know you're smart, but apparently you're not smart enough to actually do the work on a regular basis." After I had gotten the highest test and project grade on the lit unit we did for The Great Gatsby, one of my favorite books, after scraping by with C and Ds for the rest of the year for books I didn't care about, looking at you and them,